All right, let's get right into it. We are going to break down the complete anatomy of a courtroom collapse, a collapse triggered by one of the most unbelievable leaks in legal history. It all kicked off when a sitting federal judge, right in the middle of a massive trial, made a call that left pretty much everyone watching completely speechless.
So, those were the last words Judge Caldwell said to a top defense attorney before he motioned to the U.S. Marshals. That was the moment, the calm right before the storm that just turned this entire trial completely upside down. The big question is, how on earth did it get to that point?
So yeah, let's start with the explosion itself. The moment everything just shattered. Live, on camera, in a federal courthouse.
At the very center of all this, you have Judge Caldwell. We're talking about a man with 37 years on the federal bench. He's known for being this unshakable, totally by-the-book kind of judge.
And this wasn't just some small-time case. This was the massive, high-stakes corruption trial of a major political donor, Victor Ashworth. And really, the prosecution's whole case was hanging by a thread on a single protected witness.
And then, the unthinkable happens. The judge doesn't just bang his gavel or issue a warning. He orders the entire defense team to be arrested, right there. Lead attorneys Marcus Webb and Daniel Harmon and their associate are put in handcuffs and walked out of the courtroom. And I mean, let's be super clear here. This kind of thing just does not happen. A courtroom works because of a balance of power, and arresting one side's lawyers in the middle of a trial, that completely demolishes that foundation.
So, what could possibly make a judge take such an extreme step? Well, the answer had dropped just a few hours earlier, in the form of an encrypted audio file that basically set the internet on fire.
Okay, so at 7:47 in the morning, this file labeled W14 privileged gets uploaded anonymously. It just blew up, racking up over 3 million downloads in just a couple of hours. And why? Because it was a recording of something that should never, ever have existed. A supposedly private, privileged conversation between the defense attorneys.
But the chaos didn't just start with the leak. As you can see from this timeline, the FBI had actually already opened a secret investigation into the defense team weeks before, thanks to a tip from an informant. Then, a paralegal who's cooperating with them made the actual recording on January 11th. The public leak on the 27th? That just lit the fuse and forced everyone to act, right then and there.
All right, let's talk about the tape itself. Because what is on this recording? Well, it isn't just unethical. According to pretty much every legal expert out there, it is blatantly criminal.
That is the voice of the lead defense attorney, Marcus Webb. He is not talking about legal strategy. Prosecutors say this is a direct, crystal-clear threat against their star witness, made just days before that person was set to testify.
And the threats were chillingly specific. The tape actually captures them talking about intimate details of the witness's life, where his wife worked, where his kid went to school, as leverage points. This just vaults way over the line into criminal witness tampering.
And then you have the money. The tape talks about payments being funneled in a way to hide where they came from. And sure enough, subpoenaed records confirmed it almost immediately. Nearly $850,000 wired from an offshore account that was linked back to the defendant's associates. This looks like a premeditated conspiracy, not some mistake made in the heat of the moment.
So the defense team's first move was to claim the tape was doctored or taken out of context. Well, that argument completely crumbled within hours. The FBI's forensic audio unit authenticated the whole thing, confirming the voices with 99.2% certainty. The evidence was, for all intents and purposes, bulletproof.
So let's be perfectly clear on what we're talking about here. This is the crime. Witness tampering. It's not about being an aggressive lawyer fighting for your client. It's a direct attack on the very integrity of the justice system. It's an attempt to literally block the search for truth.
So with all this evidence out in the open, the fallout was immediate and it was catastrophic, and it spread way beyond just the 3 attorneys who were under arrest.
The consequences just came down like dominoes. The trial was suspended indefinitely. The Department of Justice immediately launched a wider investigation into the conspiracy. The witness and their family whisked away into protective custody. The law firm itself was raided by the FBI, and the defendant, Victor Ashworth, was literally left sitting all alone at the defense table as his lawyers were being led away in cuffs.
But really, this story is so much bigger than just one trial or a few bad lawyers.
It hits right at the foundation of our legal system, and it raises these huge questions about trust and accountability.
And this really gets to the heart of it all. What is the line between zealous advocacy and a criminal conspiracy? Because on the one hand, zealous advocacy is what we expect from a good lawyer, protecting a client's rights, challenging evidence. But on the other hand, threatening a witness's family, hiding money, planning crimes, that's not advocacy. As one former federal judge put it, that's just organized crime wearing a suit.
Ultimately, what this all comes down to is attorney-client privilege. It's meant to be a shield, something that exists to make sure everyone gets a fair defense. It was never, ever intended to be a sword, to be used by lawyers to commit crimes with their clients. And this case is all about what happens when that sacred trust gets weaponized.
And that leaves all of us with a really unsettling question. The entire legal system, it's built on the idea that the officers of the court, the lawyers, the judges, are bound by the law. So when they're the ones breaking it, faith in that whole structure, it starts to crumble. What happens next is going to be a true test of whether that structure can even hold.